celebrate one of our very own. So are we ready to get the party started?
Yeah!
The party started is our chorus to lead us in the Star Spangled Banner.
Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary. What are you doing? Come on.
So you pull out the harmonica, go wah, hit the right note.
Well done. And from the four-way test and invocation, we have Nancy Reese.
Thank you, President Lisa. Please join me in prayer. Good and gracious God, thank you for this day to experience magic, miracles, and happy surprises. We assemble with gratitude for this time to gather and share food, fellowship, and fun. We acknowledge that our hands are your hands as we give to others. Our voices are your voice as we support those who cannot speak for themselves. And our hearts are your heart as we love for serving our community and throughout the world as Rotarians. Guide us as we work to make a positive difference in the lives of all those around us. Grant us wisdom, strength, and compassion as we all live our Rotary motto of service above self. May our actions be a reflection of our gratitude for all the ways you bless us. On this exciting day for our club, let us remember Wally Emmerling, his kindness, caring, generosity, and exemplary service above self. And to celebrate with one of our members who has followed Wally's example by living by their values and consistently serving in many ways, numerous times, and selflessly giving of him or herself. May this person be an inspiration and encouragement to all of us, and to remember that we reflect your goodness and generosity to us as we serve others. We pray all this in your name. Amen. Amen. Now let us take the four-way test, the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians.
To do the truth, is fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships, will it be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you.
Take your seats. We have next the lawn and
duo yesterday this morning, checking in and actually helping us sing the national anthem.
Can't hear ya. Can't hear you.
Carly Robin, she's a graduate student from UC CCM. Dad is a very involved Rotarian from Kansas City. So welcome, Carly. And we also have Dwayne Frolicker, who's a guest of Rocky Secone, back to your home, please think of somebody that you think would be a good Rotarian and invite them to an upcoming meeting. So please do so. Thank you very much.
Well played, Dan, recruiting from the mic. So next we have our announcements, and I would like to share that next week we have Elena Ayatollah, special agent in charge, and I promise I will perfect that name next week. Special agent in charge, we have to get at FBI Cincinnati. That's going to be a really exciting session next week, so looking forward to seeing everybody here. World Affairs meets in the Highland Room after the meeting. So we have some birthdays. We got a couple here in attendance. We have Bonnie out there. Let's see Bonnie just yet. Bonnie. Okay, Bonnie. Bonnie, ready? Please stand up. Ollie, where are you? Say, please stand up. We also are celebrating Charles Pierce and Sharon Coleman, who could not be with us today. Ollie, Bonnie, stand on up. On 1, 2, 3, we need to say happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday! And I encourage them to celebrate all week long. All right. I want to first thank everybody who contributes to Split the Pot. You are investing in the health of our club, and you are investing in our member development efforts. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So 25% of the pot goes to the winner. We have $45 today. And then we have 25% of the pot that goes to the accumulating pot, which you guys all might know, and that is $575. So get your winning tickets out. And I can draw, probably. Did you buy tickets? Okay. All right, it is 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 2. 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 2. I was promised to win. 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 2.
Somebody double check this.
Real quick, pick it up. Must be precious to me.
Sarah checked mine, so, yeah. One more time, huh? We're doing another one? All right.
Wait a minute now. No, it's 3, 2, 2.
3, 2, 2 is at the end.
You sure it's not 1, 6, 6?
The ending numbers are 3, 2, no, 3, 4, 5, 1, 0, 3. great friendship, fellowship, and a good time. All right, so with that said, I am going to turn things over to our celebration today. Just to say a few words. If you think about one of the most meaningful things we do as Rotarians, we give our time, we give our talents, and we give our energy. We're always moving forward. We're always focused on service above self. We're a group that gives, and that means we go, go, go. So that's why today is so special, because we get to pause. And I asked Sarah yesterday as we were preparing for today's meeting, and I really love what she said. A lot of times I love what Sarah says. And she said this entire meeting is our chance to reflect, to really hit pause and celebrate each other. And we do go, go, go all the time, don't we? We get to honor and we get to acknowledge one of our own. The Wally Emmerling Award gives us an opportunity to shine a light on extraordinary service. Service that too often goes unrecognized because it's just done humbly, quietly, and consistently. So it's really cool. I'm at the podium today to celebrate. Normally this would be Eric's a meeting to run, and you will absolutely hear from him. But let's take the time to celebrate the heart of Rotary, the spirit of giving, and the incredible impact one individual can have when they lead with purpose, passion, and service. So with that, I get the pleasure and joy of turning things over to talk about the Wally Emmerling Day, the history, and the full presentation to Michael Valley and Steve Haber.
Hello, everyone.
Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, bye.
Well, thank you, President Lisa, and good afternoon, everybody. As Lisa just said, this is a very special day here at Cincinnati Rotary, as we're about to honor one of our members with the club's most prestigious award, the Walter Emmerling Award. What I'd like to do first, and I know this is going to be somewhat of a challenge, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. How many of you, new members, how many of you have never heard, or members and guests, have never heard this program before? Good, so this is for you. Okay? The second one, now this is going to be, well, I might even get a few more hands than that. How many of us here actually knew Wally? Look at that, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Again, you'll know why we're celebrating today. So for those new members and guests who are unfamiliar with the award, I'm going to explain its beginning and some of the history. And I'll find the clicker here. So this is the 32nd Wally Emmerling Award. There were 31 previous honorees who will announce in a minute. Only 15 have been with us. The 2018 recipient was Don Kelly. He was the first recipient to have not known Wally, as he joined after Wally had passed away. But certainly there will be many more to come. So as I said, many of you have heard of the origin of this long history of this honor, but those new members and guests, I'm going to explain what it's all about. Here we go. Walter Emmerling, or Wally, as most of us think of him, was a longtime member of our Rotary Club and very much admired. He was often agreed of singing at the entry to the Hall of Mirrors. Even in his later days, he was on his walker, or sitting on his walker, whether he's agreed or not, he didn't care. But he wanted to know, he either knew or wanted to know, everyone in the club. He was raised in Norwood and lost his father at the young age of 5. But Wally made something of himself regardless of what was thrown at him. And like many of us, he learned about the world early and jumped right in. With his paper route and his active involvement in the Boy Scouts, he began early in life, learning and living Rotarian values. Not too long after that, in 1924, Wally would become a Buckeye and enter the Ohio State University. 4 years later, in 1928, he would graduate with a degree in business. And soon after graduating, would sign on with Cincinnati's Procter & Gamble Company, and it would be the beginning of an almost 40-year career there. He became a Rotarian in 1949 at the age of 45. He was president of our club in the Rotary year 1964-65, and was a member for the rest of his 55 years. Among other things, he was elected to the school board, YMCA board, was president of the Fires Club, and among other well-known organizations. Along the way, he received numerous awards, including the National Office Manager Association of the Year Award. Most of us know what the SIR award is today. Super Involved Rotary. Wally was the very first one. So beyond all of his achievements, Wally, shown here with past President Pat Eaton, was a gentleman in the truest sense of the word. He was a man of integrity, strong dedication. It was obvious he represented what Rotary was all about in so many ways. So 31 years ago, in the spring of 1994, the club held the first Rotary Spring Classic at the Clover Country Club as a roast, fundraiser, and club outing, where Wally was selected as the first honoree of the event. Eventually, the board of directors elected to modify the event and rename it in his honor. Thus was the creation of what we are celebrating today, the annual Walter Emmerling Award. We remember Wally today. He passed away at the age of 99 in 2004, shortly before what would have been his 100th birthday. Since that beginning in 1994, many members, many of them past presidents, past district governors, have been honored with this award. I'd like to introduce them this afternoon. So in addition to Wally, we have Cromer Mashburn, John Evans, Bob McSpadden, Doug Poe, Carl Prince, Ira Abrahamson, Bruce Cook, Jim Powers, Seth Schaefer, Tom Powell, Gus Yingling, Ray Borchak, Jack Berger, and Pete Armstrong. So this slide you see here, only Greg and Peter are still with us. So next we have Don Meyer, Fred Fisher, Julian Magnus, Al Conscious, Owen Rassman, Steve Haber, Rudy Papke, Charlie Bradley, myself, Tom Keller, James Burkhead, Jack Scott, Susan Wilkinson, Richard Hodgeness, and Carl Pappas. And last year's recipient, Michael Jackson. So that rounds out the first 31 years of the award. As you can see, all of these recipients have been, and they continue to be tremendously active on the club and Rotary. So, see here at a couple of these tables, if those of you I just mentioned, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. So the minimum years is 25, all the Emmerling Award. So to keep you in suspense for a couple more moments, I want to tell you about a couple of earlier programs. For many years, The program was emceed by both Greg Morishek and Jim Coward, and they shared responsibilities of talking to families, gathering pictures, writing the script, as do Steve and I. Their format used two podiums, usually on both sides of the stage, like the hall mirrors. And they switched back and forth, talking about the awardee. And it's just, I say typically, I think mostly, is a surprise to the awardee. They don't know until their name is announced. So everybody out there is not thinking, okay? So that worked well until one year when Jim Powers won the award. So together, Jim and Greg wrote a ghost script honoring a ghost awardee, while Greg wrote the real one for Jim. So what a surprise that was when he was announced, and Greg did the same thing a few years later. So who's it going to be this year? So as a team, let's look at this picture. I told you about a surprise a couple of years ago. We've been fortunate over the years to have Rotarians Carl Campus and Julie Boyer to host the awardees family guests in December through having lunch unbeknownst to the awardee, then ushering them into our room at just the right time. We are back ready today. But a couple years ago, we had two families backstage. That was the real family, was guest hosted by Linda Lewis, and a stand-in family, because the stand-in family was Dr. Miller, and his family, and was hosted by Carl Campus. So as Carl ushered in the family, which we'll do here in just a minute, he realized it was his picture up there. So we pulled off another one. That's the way it goes. Okay, so long enough. This year's 2025 Wally Award winner. Okay, not so fast. This picture will give you a better idea of the award, the award is today. The fact is, we couldn't fit on the slide. Yes, it's our honor today to announce the 2025 awardee. Is going as well, who will pick around here in a minute. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to we'll have a seat there. We'll turn it over to Steve.
John, congratulations to you.
John Farmeyer, you were born to Nancy and Ray Farmeyer at Fort Ford, a former United States Army post, now a national monument on Monterey Bay on the Pacific Coast in Marina, California. Your sister Lynn was added to the family 4 years later. And after Lynn was born, the family moved from California California to Cincinnati, where you attended grade school at Sherwood Elementary in Anderson Township and Guardian Angels School in Mount Washington. There you played soccer and also started riding bicycles, of which you still do to this day. You skipped junior high school, but then graduated from Covington Latin School in 1982. After graduating from high school, you received your first Rotary experience when in 1983, you were a Rotary exchange student to Arita, Japan. Arita is a town located in the Nishamatsura, I did that. The Nishamatsura district, Saga Prefecture on Kyushu Island at the southern end of Japan. During your year there, you stayed with 3 different host families. Here in the front row on the right shows you attending a meeting of the Rotary Club of Arita, a club within District 2640, which covers the northern end of Kyushu Island. After graduating from Covington Latin, you first attended Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, which is home of Rotary International, where you earned a degree in political science. Then you attended the University of Michigan's Stephen M. Ross School of Business, where you earned a Master's of Business Administration in 1993. During this time, you traveled the world on a number of trips, either solo or with friends. Your first European trip in 1990 was to Italy, Greece, and Egypt. That was followed by your second trip to Europe in 1991, including Brussels, Paris, the French Riviera, the Italian Riviera, Rome, Germany, and Amsterdam. And while earning your MBA at Michigan, you spent a summer in Poland as an intern at the Bank Morski, when you also traveled to Prague, Gdansk, Berlin, and England. And then after graduation from Michigan, you went back to Asia, visiting Korea, Jakarta, Bali, and your host family in Arita, Japan. We believe your studies at college must have had an effect on you, as part of your travels in Paris included this picture of you at the statue of the thinker. Upon graduation from Northwestern, you worked for a number of international banks in Chicago, including Kiowa Bank and the National Australia Bank. But your career really took a turn when, after graduation from Michigan, you went back to Chicago in late 1993 and started at the Northern Trust Company as an assistant vice president and large institutional investment consultant for large international clients. During your time there, your international clients again took you around the world, including Botswana, Singapore, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, and the Middle East. Then in late 2000, you joined Gradison Wealth Management, which later became UBS Financial Services. You are now a Senior Vice President of Wealth Management and a Senior Portfolio Manager with expertise in financial planning, asset allocation, strategy, investment, manager selection. And you've been there ever since, 25 years. Here you are with a number of your friends outside your home while you were in Chicago. While living there, you remodeled the basement, which you said you would never ever do again. And the fellow on the far right in the Northwestern sweatshirt is your friend Riley. At Riley's engagement party in early 1994, he introduced you to a friend of his, Judy Cornwell. And a little less than 2 years later, in November of 1995, you and Judy were married at the Fourth Presbyterian Church on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. Riley, who introduced you to each other, was your best friend, best man. Your extensive travel experiences were certainly going to be shared with Judy, starting with your honeymoon in Hawaii, followed by Australia, New Zealand, traveling all throughout California, many cruises, Croatia, and just finished a trip back to Greece. You moved back to Cincinnati in 2000, and you and Judy welcomed 2 daughters, Hannah in 2001, and then Elizabeth in 2002. Hannah graduated from the University of Dayton and is now a math teacher at New Richmond Middle School. She spends her summers as a camp counselor in North Carolina, taking the girls there on 3-day treks into the Carolina mountains. Elizabeth, in pursuit of her tennis career, spent her junior year of high school in Boca Raton while virtually attending high school. A recent graduate of Dartmouth College, she recently moved to Florida, where she now works for Disney in marketing strategy and continues to pursue tennis. In addition to all the travels you made alone or with Judy, as Anna and Elizabeth grew older, you went on many, many family trips across the United States, including these helicopter rides in Hawaii. John, you've been a member of our club for over 24 years, having joined in the line of business of investment. Just a few years later, you were awarded the club's SIR Award, the Super Involved Rotarian Award. You're a member of the Legacy Circle and are included in our club's list of Paul Harris Fellows. Whether it was taking Anna and Elizabeth to the Camp Allen balloon rides or working on other service projects, you stepped in and made a difference with your service to our club. You were president of our Rotary Foundation in the year 2019-2020, co-chairing the Believe to Achieve fundraiser with Susan Wilkinson at the helm in 2018, and then chairing the event with Carl Kappas as co-chair in 2019 at the Anderson Pavilion on the downtown riverfront. And for 3 years, you attended our Rotary Do Days with over 20 volunteers from UBS at Camp Allen. Your latest endeavors for our club include our World Affairs Committee. You recently returned from an unforgettable service trip to Guatemala, led by Cooperative for Education. Over 5 days, you visited schools in the Central Highlands, delivering textbooks, technology, and educational supplies throughout our Guatemala Literacy Project. Welcomed with singing and celebrations, you connected with students and teachers, seeing firsthand how the resources you provided are transforming education there. In addition to all your Rotary service, you're active in your men's fellowship group at church, and you've been on the Stepping Stones board for the last 4 years. John, we could certainly keep on going here to acknowledge all you've done, but we've got some folks joining us here today who've got some words to share with you. First is your longtime childhood and high school friend, Chris Sayer. If you would, please welcome Chris to the podium.
Thank you very much. John, congratulations. John and I met about 50 years ago in the parking lot of our local tavern for our morning carpool to high school. After high school, as was mentioned, John departed for Japan on a scholarship and then went on to academic glory at Northwestern and some community college. I had planned to tell some stories about John's early music career and work in a few bachelor party anecdotes, but my wife Nancy mentioned that this is not a Friars Club roast. So, I'd like to share a story of John's early dedication to the Rotary motto of service above self. We attended, as was mentioned, Latin school across the river. There you go. Here's a picture of John as a freshman in high school, I'll mention. And then the next photo here is from his senior year, which we got a little picture of earlier. I thought it'd be appropriate if we had a much larger one. So we can take that in. As you can see, he's quite the stylish dresser back then. Our freshman class started with 66 boys. Now this was well before the era of No Child Left Behind. We lost a few good men along the way. By the time we reached graduation, we were down to 29. However, it would have been 28 without John's help. Our senior year of Latin class was dedicated to Virgil's poem, The Aeneid. It's a long poem, about 10,000 lines. It tells the legendary story of Aeneas and the founding of Rome. The final hurdle of senior year was a public oral exam on the last morning of school. It's confirmed this would be a memorable experience for all the boys. The grades are posted on the headmaster's door for all to see. Now, one of John's classmates didn't exactly apply himself throughout high school, and specifically the senior year of Latin. A few days before the exam, our headmaster, Father Hiley, called his father and explained the consequences to his son's graduation prospects if he didn't study and pass the exam. Naturally, this led to some passionate discussions between father and son. John's classmate, who hadn't bothered to take notes all year, reached out to John with a desperate request to borrow his notes. John, of course, generously allowed his notes to be copied. The student furiously studied and memorized the notes over the next several days. He somehow stumbled his way through the exam and passed it, and fortunately went on to graduate. So John, thank you very much. Without your help, I'd be a high school dropout. That's not good for anybody. Congratulations on the well-deserved reward. I'm proud to call you my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Next is your business partner and fellow bike rider, Jim Hyder. Please welcome Jim to the podium.
Thank you. And again, John, congratulations on the award. As you all know, having seen John's autobiography here, we are in the investment business.
Can you stand closer to the mic?
I'm sorry. And I met John 25 years ago when he moved to Cincinnati from Chicago. And at the time, I was working as sort of a staff member at a firm called Radisson, a regional brokerage firm here. And John's father also worked there. And I did some work with John's father and got to meet John when he joined the team. And I tell you, John did a wonderful job with kind of professionalizing his father's business and putting some structure behind it. And that became very, very important, sort of a customer service structure and the investment structure, because when John's father retired 10 years later, all of those customers that were John's father stayed with us. And I attribute that to all of John's work that he did in the first 10 years of his employment there. I was blessed enough to be able to join the team of John and his teammate Tim, and we've worked together as a team for now 16 years now. John and I have had the pleasure of sharing a number of accounts, and that has taken us on some travels. A lot of these clients no longer live in Cincinnati and live in much temperate zones in Florida and the like. John was very, very, kind to me in my obsession when we would travel with staying in the lowest priced hotels. Judy, I think that's probably why John unpacked his suitcases in the garage when we returned home from church. And I tell you, it was on one of these trips that I found out what the Find My app, Find My iPhone app was for. And when John flew into Orlando and rented a car and proceeded to put his iPhone on the top of the car and then would drive away. And John and I amazingly found his phone on the side of a highway some 3 or 4 hours later. But that trip also involved a trip to the Verizon store because the phone wasn't in such good shape. John, during his tenure with our little team, became kind of the de facto CEO of our group. And lest you become too impressed by that, this is a totally unpaid gig that he took on. And it also involved dealing with management and compliance and dealing with a number of personnel issues that weren't altogether a lot of fun. But we were very thankful that John kind of took on these duties. It's kind of that same spirit that he undertakes as a Rotarian, kind of stepping into a void, knowing something needed to be done, and to step up and take charge with that. And I know all of the team is very, very grateful for what he's done in that regard. As the autobiography noted, that John has gotten our team involved with the due days. So the last 3 or 4 years, we've come out as a team to work at Camp Stepping Stone. And in addition, John has recruited other members of the office to do this, as well as a number of our clients. And again, that just shows that John has stepped up. We've all gotten to know the Rotary because of that. And through our exposure to all of this, we've gotten a real understanding of what this group is about. And John, again, I want to congratulate you on behalf of the entire team back at UPS for this honor.
Thanks, Jim.
There you go.
Finally is our fellow Rotarian, Chuck Martz, who's involved with you in our World Affairs Committee. So if you would, please welcome Chuck.
Good afternoon, everybody, and it's such an honor to be here to congratulate John. And a couple things that were left off his bio. He is also our photographer, and he's also a chorus member. I don't know what Rotary would be like without John Farmeyer being involved in this. When I first came to Rotary, we moved here in 2020, and I got this phone call from Melinda Kelly. And I don't know if ever you got phone calls from Melinda Kelly, but as soon as I see her number on my phone, I go, oh God, what does Melinda want? And she says, hey, you've got a lot of background in world affairs and doing global grants. And she goes, would you want to be the chair of the committee? I said, Melinda, I just got here. I don't know. I said, maybe if I had a co-chair. She goes, I got just a guy. So I had the good fortune of being the co-chair with John Farmeyer. And I was the new guy, and he was the grizzled elder statesman. And, from the start, I was just struck by how much respect everybody on the committee paid to John, and that he was able to command, and also about how much he cared, not only about our committee, but about the people that we were serving. John's leadership has been inspiring through that whole time. We've had major projects from installing solar panels in Uganda to providing books and supplies through the Uganda Schools Project, and then water and sanitation in Madagascar. But true to his vision, John has really pushed the committee to look at projects in the Western Hemisphere. And that's really all about not only providing help and support in the hemisphere, but also making it much easier for all of you to come out and travel to those projects, 'cause I can tell you, once you have gone to one project, your life will be changed when you do that. And it's so critical that we've done it. That's all been driven by John. Now, as we all saw, John is also a money guy, okay? So during the last few years, the amount of donations and fundraising that John has overseen along with the committee has just been tremendous. And also, he's had the vision to look at the creation of an endowment that would support rural affairs. When I first joined the committee, it was very simple. As Richard Legioness used to say, we eat what we kill. I mean, we had to raise all of our money in that given year. And John has been instrumental in creating that endowment. But, you know, I think what finally sets John apart, other than his vision, is just that he always brings people to him, his rare ability to listen and to make people feel heard and that they're contributing, his calm, thoughtful manner, and just moving forward has just been really a learning experience for me and something to watch. He's earned the respect of everybody on those committees, and I think he really exemplifies the four-way test. So John, thank you for your dedication, thank you for your kindness, and for your commitment to service above self. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So please join me in thanking all of our speakers today. John, we hope you've enjoyed this little recap of your life of service and what you mean to us, for all that you've done and who you are, but it's obvious. What has been most important to you is your love for your family and friends, your service to our club and Rotary, and making the world a better place than you found it. The following has been said about the Walter Emmerling Award. In 1994, the directors of the Rotary Club of Cincinnati established an award to be presented to a great living Rotarian who exemplifies the highest qualities a Rotarian could achieve, one who demonstrates service above self, and one who serves as a model to others. It's obvious, John, why we are celebrating you today. Our thanks go to Judy for all her help collecting pictures and telling the stories about John, our speakers, Chris, Jim, and Chuck. Julie Poyer and Carl Kappas for hosting the family and guests backstage. John and Judy, I'm going to ask you to make your way up to the podium here, if you would please. And we're going to turn the program over to past President Eric, fellow Rotarians and guests, the 2025 Wally Emmerling Award winner, John Farmeyer.
John, you are truly a leader in our club, and I think it was well said. We wouldn't be our successful club without you. So thank you, and thanks to Judy for all of you do. I know you're the backbone of John. I want to celebrate and memorialize today's event with a plaque dedicated to you. And I want to read the plaque, but before I do that, I want us to explain why I'm here. Two for the price of one. We got two presidents honoring you, right? So it's even better. But due to scheduling, this was during my year, so we carried it over 2 years because you're so special, John. But without further ado, I want to give you this plaque, and I want to read it to you. And I'm sure it will brightly shine on your office wall or at home. So if you want to hold that, I'll read it. So the Rotary Club of Cincinnati, to John Farmeyer, in appreciation of your dedication and continuing service to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati, the Board of Directors does hereby present to you the Wally Emmerling Award that has been established to be given to great living Rotarians who have demonstrated service above self for 2025. presentation from Mr. Michael Schatzman.
Well, thank you very much. First thing I do want to say is thanks to Judy. That's the most important thing, but thanks to my family. It has been it's been more than a 25-year journey, right? I was an exchange student way back in 1983, and that really set the course. And, there were people on the photos there that I really respected. They were actually members back in 1983, including Jack Shaler, who was the president that year. He ended up being the guy that brought me into the club 17, 18 years later. So we have a great tradition here. And so I thank my family for putting up with me, because I do things. Over the years, there's been plenty of times when I'm on my own and Judy's with the kids or what have you. So I appreciate her support. But I appreciate all of you, right? I mean, you're the ones that make things happen. This is not just one person. Almost all of you are leaders in your organization, right? So you can come here and be leaders. Now, sometimes that means we clash a little bit because we're all type A leaders. But anyway, as I said on this podium last week, you can make a difference, right? And I've done many things in this club. That happens to be World Affairs right now. There's been some things that I don't do well in this club, but there are things that I have done, and I've been very dedicated towards doing those. So you all have, a passion and a purpose in your normal life, your life outside of Rotary and work. You can bring that here, and you can be here 25 years later, or some of us have been around a little longer than that. Maybe it's 35 or 50 years later. You can make a difference. So I encourage you all to do that. Thank you very much.
So over to President Lisa.
Class dismissed.
President Lisa, you want to wrap us up?
So John, when I was in Rotary, I'm not going to say how many years ago, when I first started and then transferred to Cincinnati Club, I'm going to cry. You're one of the most memorable people that I met in the club. Your leadership, you were an inspiration to me, and you really, without probably knowing it, got me involved with way too many things Rotary. So I just want to say thank you for just being you, and thank you for giving so much of yourself pretty much to everything. So it's a pleasure to have this microphone today to celebrate you and everything you've given to Rotary and beyond. So as we bring, I can do this. Can we do this? No, I can't. As we bring today's program to a close, let's carry forward the spirit we honored in this room to John today. The spirit of selfless service, quiet leadership, and steadfast commitment. It's easy to get caught up in that doing and that going. Rotarians are always on the move. We're always in the giving mode. But today reminded us how important it is to pause, to reflect, and to celebrate those who lead by example. The Wally Emmerling Award is a celebration of John and his incredible service today, and it's a celebration of us all. I encourage you to look around this room and give gratitude and the impact that we make when we live our lives every day with the values of Rotarians. So thank you for hitting pause on our going and our doing and being a part of this special celebration. Let it fuel the work ahead, and we may never forget the power of a single Rotarian to inspire many. So I encourage you to say, this party is not over. And let us celebrate the spirit of the Wally Emmerling Award each and every day. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.
They gave you a great big head.